when horses are tense or hot and you can't apply your aids, that is just as much of an evasion as horses that are lazy. All right, so we have an opportune moment of what to do when your horse is hot and tense and doesn't want to walk. So Mercurio here is a wonderful horse, but he's one of those horses that the more you work, like the hotter he gets. So because I've been doing some like hard stuff, now he like wants to jig and he doesn't want to just relax and stay with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some lateral movements to help him to relax. So what the best thing is to do is, like, when your horse is tense and hot, is to get them on the aids, because if you can get your horse to be submissive, it's going to help them to relax. He's already relaxing. But sometimes, like with him, just holding him back at the walk, he just gets hotter and hotter and hotter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ride shoulder in and circle and shoulder in and circle and really focus on a steady rhythm. So a steady, slow rhythm that he doesn't go too fast. But I really want to feel that he allows my aids, like that he allows me to wrap my legs around him, that he allows me to ask things of him, and that he doesn't get all silly and stupid about it. So bending, good. So lateral work, like leg yield, shoulder in, 10-meter circle, haunches in. That really is the best thing to go to when your horse starts feeling like all tense and anxious and antsy. The worst thing to do when your horse is tense is to, one, like hold them back by pulling on both reins. That's just going to make them faster and faster and go hotter. The other thing that's really not helpful is to try to force them to walk. And that's where I have a little bit of problems with Mercurio, that he doesn't want to walk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of trot work. Boy. And then once I feel like I have him relax at the trot, I'm going to see if I can do my walk. Because before we started the camera, I was trying to do walk pirouettes with him, and that was making him like really tense. Oh boy. But really the best way, if you have a horse that's tense or nervous, the best way to get them to relax is through like gentle submission. And this is what I mean by gentle submission. I'm just like, okay, circle, shoulder in, circle, haunches in, steady tempo, steady contact. If your horse doesn't know shoulder in or haunches in, you could just do like serpentines, like 3-loop serpentines, or leg yields, or just 10-meter circles. But be boring. So now I'm going to see if I can walk. I'm going to half halt, not too fast. Because especially if you have a horse that gets tense, like Mercurio, if I let him get fast in the tempo, like if he starts to get too fast in the walk tempo, or in the trot tempo, it makes him more nervous. So I'm going to see if I can, like, so carefully half halt and put my legs on. Oh boy, boy. No, shoulder in. So if he jigs, I'm just going to push him a little sideways, and I'm going to keep my legs draped around him. So I'm not going to grip with my legs, but I'm also not going to take my leg off of him. Because if I take my leg off of him, then he's kind of training me. No, just walk. But whenever he wants to jig, I think almost halt, move over, soften my hand. There. Almost halt, move over, soften my hand. There. And just with my body, I'm thinking like, I'm going to be so boring. Good. Almost halt. Move over. There. Soften my hand. So it's really important that like by pushing him sideways and getting him on his hind leg, then I'm able to soften my reins. Because if I try to hold him back from jigging with my reins, guess what? He's just gonna go faster and faster and wanna pull more and more. Good boy. So now you can see he's relaxing. So I'm gonna see if I can carefully let the reins a little more out. And I'm really like holding my tummy slow here. So I'm not like overly like swinging my hips, because I know that his tendency is that he wants to jig a little bit. So I'm going to take him up again, and I'm going to think about pushing him sideways as I take him up there, so that I can help him understand, like, I know you're tense and hot, but you have to still accept my aids. Like, you have to listen to my inside leg and my outside rein there. Because when horses are tense or hot and you can't apply your aids, that is just as much of an evasion as horses that are lazy. Now, obviously you have to address it differently. Like, I have to address this by just being super patient and calm and kind of boring, but also like, I'm not gonna go away. So now probably what I would do, like, I feel like he's relaxed some at the walk, I would probably go up to the trot and the canter. When you have a horse that's hot and tense, there's a balance between, sometimes you have to let them go forward. Like, if I just try to hold Mercurio back in the walk the whole time, he's gonna get hotter and hotter. So if I let him trot and canter and do some transitions, that actually helps him to relax. I don't let him like go crazy, like bonsaiing around, but I just let some of the energy out a little bit, and that can help him to relax. But it's definitely an art, riding a horse when they're tense and hot. It takes patience, and use that lateral work, like use leg yields, circles, serpentine, shoulder in, all of that stuff is kind of like putting your horse in neutral, where you can still let the engine go, but you have more control of it. So I hope this video has helped you, and I've been meaning to film this for a while. I just kind of needed the right moment where a horse was hot in an honest way, so then I could show how I would deal with it. So I hope this has helped you. The other thing with Mercurio is the canter is the gait that helps him relax the most. So if he's like super tense and hot, sometimes I'll just put him on a circle. I don't let him gallop off, but I just like calmly like canter, spiral in, canter, spiral in. Like, I can show that here. I need to stretch him a little bit at the end anyways. So what I might do is just let him be a little bit long. The other thing that's super important is to really think about, like, when your horse gets tense, the more that you hang on the reins, the more they're gonna pull on you. So when he gets tense, I'm really like sitting on my butt and trying to give the rein. I'm like, I'm not gonna create tension in the bridle, because that's just gonna give him something more to pull on. Good boy. And I don't want to let him curl too much, because that's kind of his tendency, is he likes to just curl behind the contact. So I do want to let him stretch, but I want to do it with contact and to where I'm controlling the tempo. There. A boy. A boy. And every horse is a little bit different. So, you know, this is what works for him. You have to figure out what works for your horse. And let me know down in the comments, you know, what's kind of your recipe, what's your go-to when your horse gets a little tense or hot. But I hope this gave you some ideas. And be sure to give us a thumbs up. Like our YouTube channel. We make new videos every Wednesday.